it for 2 years.
Yeah. Now, okay, so I think that's a part that's not necessarily highlighted a lot when all these coaches are like, you need to get into sales and you need to start doing this like today. Like, take us through, what somebody should expect. Is that a level you get to where you're in those, those Zoom hour-long meetings, or is that the closer kind of level here?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's a closer, level. And I got a lot of people, in my Discord saying, hey, I want to be a closer. I want to be a closer. I just want to go straight to closer. I'm like, don't do it. Why would you do that? You'll be a better closer if you go and you put in the work on ground zero, right? You'll understand the process a lot better. You'll be better on the phone. You will overall be a better salesperson if you start from the bottom and work your way up. I've seen so many people come into our company, even experienced sales reps that have years of experience at big companies come into our company and not make it because they didn't go through the steps that you should go through in terms of building a solid foundation, right? So it's like anyone getting new to the game. If you can set the proper expectation of, no, you're not going to be making, 15, 20, 30,000 a month in the next 6 months. Is it possible? 1,000%. Should you expect that? No. Expect to work the next 2 years doing cold calls. Then if you do that and then you do a bunch of volume, you'll probably get there a lot quicker and then you'll win a lot faster. But if you don't, then you're not going to quit and then give up on an opportunity that can completely change your life 10 years from now. So it's just being able to go into that mindset of, I guess it's like delayed gratification, because I think a lot of people want things fast. And I think that's in this space, in the internet business space, I think that's potentially been the worst thing in terms of setting wrong expectations, like not setting proper expectations. Like if you set the expectations opposite, then you get kids that are really hungry, that are willing to put in the work, willing to put on the time, and understand that's just, kind of the stripes that you have to get to the next phase or next level.
Yeah, no, that was a really valuable piece you just had there, because I think, again, that is really the biggest problem with just the social media in general, because people, and the fact that the age has just gotten younger and younger for how early you can see it. It's like you want like the 12-year-old to like think he can really do it, but then there's certain things you just can't do from like 12 to 15 that like you are going to start thinking you can, then you're going to get depressed that you didn't do it, and then you're going to be 18 and think like you got to have it figured out because like you're not going to college. Like, no, it's really about exactly like whatever you think is like the hardest work, and I've had to really grow from this just in the last year. Like whatever you think is like the boring and like the hardest work, just start doing it and then pay attention to like be receptive of like kind of the opportunities that come of it, right? Like some weeks I don't want to shoot 5 episodes, but the amount of like just interactions I get to have and like cool experiences and connections I make, I'm like, okay, like why did I ever, like I don't get to dread that. Like you're getting put in the room with very high level people and like it's a blessing. Like you don't get to like dread that. A lot of people would like pray to like have these like opportunities. So yeah, I think just learning as early as you can learn that, I think see the most success, but then also do it consistently. Don't just do it for a month, get tired, and then learn what happens like when you get tired. So take me through that. When do you feel a little bit of burnout? Maybe take me through an experience you maybe recently had, or like, how do you handle it? Like, or, just overall kind of balance yourself to a point where you don't, kind of feel it, because you're pumping a lot of volume even now at the, the scale you're doing it.
Yeah, I feel burnout all the time. Like all the time. There's days where I have a literally back to back of sales calls, and I just don't want to do it. But I know no matter how I feel, I just have to do it. Right. Because I've put myself in this position where there's no turn. Like this is what I'm committed to. This is what I'm going to do. So no matter how I feel about it, it's going to happen. Right. And, there's other people, and even like putting yourself in a position where it's like, you need to count on you, but there's other people counting on you to make it happen. Then you can almost have that, even if it's not real, even if it's artificial, that pressure of like, these people are looking at me and seeing what I'm going to do. Do I want to tell what story do I want to tell? Do I want to tell the story of the person who just got burnt out because it got too hard, it was too tough? Or do I want to tell the story of the person who was able to overcome all those things and then, really get to the next level. And I think an example where it was the worst and I had to learn the lesson the most was when I was going from that setter to a closer role. Because at that time, I was doing 3 to 5 different jobs. I was, cold calling. I was managing the calendars. I was closing these lower ticket deals. And then I guess those were really the main 3 that I was doing. And then the 4th would be I was trying to close these other deals, right? And through that process, you probably had this feeling where you go through the day and your mind's like all in these different places because you're doing multiple different things that are pulling you in each direction. So that's how my day felt, 8-10 hours a day, every single day for 6 months. And then on top of that, as I was going through that, I was still making all the cold calls because I had to be the top performer there. Then I was having to close these other deals and then manage everyone's calendars, reschedules for, 5 salespeople, which if you've ever done that, it's hectic because people are rescheduling. You have to confirm, you have to send out nurture text, all that stuff. And so I was going through that process. And at the time they were like, dude, you look way too young to close deals. Like you look like you're 12 on Zoom, right? There's no way a business owner is going to take you seriously. Like, okay, well, how do I prove you wrong? Like, how do I make it happen? And they're like, well, so kind of going back a little bit, I would close personal training deals, right? So that we have a personal training package. It was a lower ticket, $4,000 or $5,000 for that package. And then I would also close, I wanted to close the high ticket deals, which is B2B, right? Talking to other gym owners. And they said, no business owner is going to take you seriously, right? And I was like, okay, well, let me try the personal trainer. So I started doing the personal trainers. I got to the point where I was closing a couple of those a week while doing all the other activities or the other jobs. So I go back to them and I go, hey, can I close the other deals? I'm closing these deals. Like, I think I can do it. And they're like, no, you look like you're 12. And then I push for a couple more weeks and then I go ask again. And they're like, you look like you're 12. Like,
and who are you asking right now?
So I was asking, my manager.
Okay.
At the time to be able to do this. Right. Cool. And so I kept asking, they're like, no, hold back, keep proving yourself, whatever it might be. And then finally, I think they just got annoyed and they're like, okay, if you can do the same thing you're doing with the personal trainers and close the gym owners, then go for it. Like, go do it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I got super hyped. I went out and then I found this guy that I actually sold gym equipment to a year previous. I texted him, I got him on a call and I closed him. And so at this point I was doing all 4 of those jobs for, months and months and months. So I was burnt out. And then I bring this back and I was expecting them to take the other jobs off my plate and then just put me with this one job and then I could focus on that. So I was like super hyped, super pumped. Finally, I was going to, take 2 days off, take the weekend off, reset, and then just crush this other job. And they go, bring us another. I still don't think business owners will take you seriously. And I was like, what? They're like, no, bring us another. So then I went back to it. I was doing all the different things and I brought them another. And then when I brought them another, they go, bring us another. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, bring us another. And like, I've talked to
Karate Kid shit right now.
I know. I was just like, what do you mean bring another?
The fence, dude.
They're like, once you get 3, you can do it. So then I brought 3 back and they go, bring me another. And I was just like, wow. And I remember I was on the call with my manager at the time. And by the way, I'm super grateful that they did this because I didn't deserve shit.
Gotcha.
I didn't deserve anything because I didn't prove myself. Like, they were testing me to see if I could prove myself because I'm a 19-year-old kid. Everyone else is 30. Why would they
anyone can get one deal that's been setting appointments for, the last 6 months. No, I respect the hell out of it. I'm curious, how consistently were you bringing, how quickly did you go from 1 to 3? Was it getting to a point where you're just like, all right, fuck it, I have to do this in a day? Or was it just every other day, every other week?
I don't remember exactly, but at the end, I remember I think I did 2 or 3 in a week. And then I came back and then we watched the call as a company. We have our company meetings where we watch calls and they watched the call and they're like, okay, this kid sounds like a man. And then I got on the call with the CEO the next day. He pulls up the paperwork and it was 150,000 OTE, which was crazy for me at the time because I just dropped out of college, 6-7 months earlier, losing a ton of money. And then I was at this point where average graduate makes $55K a year. And then I tripled that and I was super pumped. Yeah. And then as soon as I got excited about it, I just got super scared that I was going to fail at the next thing. So then I just went right back into it.
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting. No, that's really cool. I'm glad that you took us through that, because I think that's a really important part of the story, because it's like, are you willing to put yourself through that? And when you're looking at the people that you respect and like your mentors, and I want to ask you a kind of an off-key question about that in a second, but like 99% of them did the work that just so many, like 99% of other people don't want to do. I live by like this 1% rule, just like kind of subconsciously all the time. It started with me just even running track and always being like, the reason I did it was because like there's 4,000 kids in that school and there's 8 guys out here. And I just thought that was like the sickest thing. I was like, I'm willing to like, you know, take my limit like here. And now it's like just replicating kind of in the business realm. But that's what I'm saying. Are you willing to like do that? Are you willing to find the people, and then they give you a game plan, and then again, consistently do it? Because you did this for what? It was like what, 8 months before you earned the OTE of just doing those, you know, 8-9 hour days.
Yeah, it was like 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months.
I'd have to check exactly. It was like in that time frame.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah. So it was a lot of work. And I think, like, to your point, the only reason people are not successful is because they quit. Like, if you just never quit for a long enough time horizon, you're going to be successful, and whatever you define success like is different, right? You know, there's different degrees and different opportunity vehicles that you can be in and that sort of thing. Yeah. But if you never quit at the thing that you want to be good at, then you'll probably get good eventually. Most likely. It'd probably be reasonable to assume that.